It begins in a small, dimly lit room on the outskirts of North London. A cheap desk cluttered with empty teacups, dusty keyboards, and a tangle of Ethernet cables. The curtains are drawn, the monitor hums, and the man sitting before it, pale, tired, almost translucent in the glow of the screen, is about to do something that would echo across the world's most powerful intelligence agencies. Gary McKinnon was not a spy, not a terrorist, not a trained coder working for some rogue state. He was just a guy, a Scottish systems administrator with a fascination for UFOs and a belief, however fringe, that governments were hiding something monumental. It wasn't about fame. It wasn't about money. It was, at its core, obsession. He called it the Disclosure Project. His mission, to find proof that the US government was hiding alien technology, secret energy systems, and evidence of non-human life. To him, it was a moral duty. To them, the NSA, the Department of Defense, NASA, it was an act of war. It's the early 2000s. The internet is still growing, still naive in its design. Many US government networks, even within NASA and the Pentagon, are astonishingly unprotected. No passwords, no firewalls, just open doors waiting for someone to walk through. And Gary did. Night after night, he would log in from his flat in Crouch End and virtually crawl through networks at the heart of American power. He didn't use malware. He didn't use exploits. He simply looked for computers with blank admin credentials and found them by the hundreds. One by one, he floated through the digital halls of US military installations, Johnson Space Center, Earl Naval Weapons Station, the Pentagon, the Army, Navy, and Air Force. At 3:42 a.m. August 2001, his screen lit up with the directory of a NASA contractor's computer. Inside, he found folders labeled Non-Terrestrial Officers, Fleet-to-Fleet Transfers, Solar Warden. He stared, then clicked. What he claims to have seen defies belief. Lists of off-planet personnel, references to ships never built on Earth, and grainy, high-contrast images of what he appeared to be spacecraft hovering over the Earth's atmosphere. To him, this was it, the smoking gun. He tried to download the images, but the connection was too slow. A single image took over 10 minutes, and he only managed to save one before being disconnected. But the seed had been planted, and the walls were starting to close in. Across the ocean, in Virginia, analysts began to notice strange activity. Unauthorized logins, files disappearing, sessions opening and closing in the dead of night. A digital ghost haunting the highest echelons of classified infrastructure. But Gary was careful. For almost 2 years, he danced between servers, often leaving taunts in his wake. On one military network, he left a message, "Your security is crap." On another, "I'm not a malicious hacker. I'm not doing damage. I'm looking for evidence of free energy and UFOs." But the thing about poking giants is they eventually wake up. In November 2002, there was a knock at his door. He opened it, bleary-eyed, still half asleep, and found officers from the UK's National High-Tech Crime Unit standing before him. Behind them, in the shadows, were US officials. They had tracked the breaches, traced the IPs, confirmed his logins. The charges: hacking into 97 US government computers over a 13-month period. The damage, they claimed, amounted to $700,000 in lost data, reboots, and infrastructure recovery. But more than that, it was a breach of national security. In the post-9/11 world, America wanted him extradited, tried, and jailed for up to 70 years. Gary was stunned, not because he was caught, but because in his eyes, he had simply accessed information the public deserved to know. He never installed viruses, never stole data for profit. His crime, he believed, was curiosity. What followed was a legal battle, unlike any the UK had seen. The US pushed hard, demanding his immediate extradition under a controversial treaty. Gary's lawyers argued he was not a terrorist, that he was vulnerable, diagnosed with Asperger syndrome, that the U.S. prisons would crush him, that the punishment did not fit the crime. Public opinion was split. Some saw him as a criminal who humiliated the world's top defense systems. Others saw him as a whistleblower, naive perhaps, but driven by a belief in truth. Protests erupted, campaigns launched, even celebrities and politicians began backing him. For 10 years, his life hung in limbo. No job, no internet access, facing a future that could vanish overnight if the courts ruled against him. He grew paranoid, withdrawn, trapped in his own home while the weight of two governments bore down on him. In the US, security agencies quietly reinforced their systems, audits, firewalls, new protocols. They never publicly confirmed what Gary saw or whether any of it was real. The truth, whatever it was, remained sealed behind layers of silence. But in 2012, after a decade of tension, UK Home Secretary Theresa May made a surprising announcement. Gary McKinnon would not be extradited. The decision was based on human rights grounds. The potential risk to his mental health should he face solitary confinement in the US was too great. He wept in relief, in disbelief. He had faced down the most powerful government in the world and lived to tell the tale. But he never got his internet access back, never returned to hacking, never released the photo. And yet, the question lingers. What did he really see on those NASA servers? Was it fiction, mislabeling, or was it the first digital glimpse of something long buried, something not meant to be found? He says he knows what he saw, the blurry outlines, the ship that wasn't man-made, the names that didn't exist anywhere else. He remembers the moment the file began to download, the adrenaline, the hope, and then blackness. Today, Gary McKinnon lives quietly, away from the spotlight. But in bedrooms and basements around the world, new hackers sit where he once sat, fingers hovering over keys, eyes scanning ports. They search, not for fame, but for the truth he believed was out there. And in a world where secrets are protected by firewalls instead of fences, all it takes is a bedroom, a keyboard, and someone willing to look.